Hey, what is up YouTube? Today's video we are going to go over this method that I tried out a couple of days ago. I wanted to release it pretty much because I saw how much headhunters are worth. So technically patient farming should be a lot better than ever. So in this map you can see we're doing Colonnade, we're looking for the boss. You have to hug the top corner of the wall and pretty much just follow the wall until you reach the boss room. Now this boss is kind of hard. The Colonnade boss is kind of an owner. You have to watch out for the burning ground. He does a lot of damage and he's kind of annoying. But the reason we do this map is because we do it on deli orbs, and with deli orbs, technically you can also do promenade. But Colonnade is better mainly if you get a legion spawn. The legions will be a lot better on average in Colonnade because it is a pretty wide open map. Now right now you can see I do clear out a bit of the map real fast in order to get some headhunter buffs before fighting the boss, pretty much because the boss is pretty hard. So after I get the buffs up, I go fight the boss, and I actually think I got a god touch there, right? Because I actually have the Brine King show up. But as you can see here, the boss is really annoying, and this is on 80% deli with a bunch of damage. So I did get a god touch in this map, as you can see, and now we pretty much just clear the map. As always, we click the altars, and before we actually do them, open the strong boxes, we want to make sure we clear the whole map. So there you can see a patient card drop, a dying anguish. So you can see I was kind of too anxious and clicked the box on accident. It does happen sometimes. But towards the end of this map, each map takes around 8 to 9 minutes roughly. Towards the end of the map, at this point, after you finish off all of the map, you click all the altars, and then you pretty much just run over each of the abyss. And the abyss are pretty much your biggest chance of getting a god touch. Now you can see here, okay, you see I died, but that's not really that common. So you can see here, what do you see? So a lot of people ask me, how can you actually see a god touch? And that is an innocence touch, or is it a Lunar's touch? It's a Lunar's touch. So you can see here, the abyss spawned the god touch, and I did get, what's it called, 2 currency god touch in this set of 24 maps. And usually from all my tests, I will usually do 24 maps. It does take me very long to do these tests because I get distracted while streaming. And 24 maps is a good number for me personally, but you can't have bad runs of RNG. So we did get 2 currency god touches in this set, and this one paid out for 15 divines, which is about average of what you would expect to get when running the same amount of quant I have. So in these 24 maps, you will see I actually got 70 patient cards total, which comes out to around 3 patient cards per map. And the patient has been going up and up and up. As I made in the earlier video, the price of headhunter is just crazy. It is sky high. It's 180 divines, and who knows, maybe it'll go to 200 divines. Now, in this league right now, there's pretty much only one major way to farm divination cards. There's not much you can really do besides doing strong boxes with enraged, and that gives you 500% quant on the strong boxes. Now, for people who ask if Magic Find actually works on it, the thing that drops the card are the mobs that spawn from the strong box, and those are the mobs that have the increased quant. What the strong box actually drops is meaningless, and most of the times all of the patient cards will come from the mobs, and those mobs actually get scaled by your personal player quant. So enraged strong boxes is the way to go. Now the question is that I was trying to initially answer was how many patients you can get per map if you fully invest into a patient card farming strategy. I know Snoobay actually tested this out. He had a deli mirror Colonnade strat that he was doing, and he was averaging around 1 patient per map, but I just wanted to do a full juice and see what the results actually were. So I did make a nice little spreadsheet. I'll share it down below in the description. I do think that the spreadsheet actually helps out a lot in order for you to understand what exactly is going, and I kind of made it so that you can pretty much just plug in and play what you have. So you can see here, these are the costs of the Scarabs we're using, and you can type it in. These are the Sextants. You can change it around. If you do map rolling and you're getting rare monsters, you can type in how many it would take you to roll on average. And if you're buying delirium orbs, you can type in the number, how many orbs you're using, and how much the orbs actually cost. And then it pretty much adds it all up, the total cost, and then it'll show you the total cost of the vines per map. So for this method, it's pretty expensive. Then you can type in the number of maps that you're going to be doing in the set, and it'll tell you the total cost of the set. And then here you can type in your god touch that you actually find throughout the maps, and this will pretty much average out to how many god touch you should find in terms of currency. So if you find 8 god touch, normalized, it should be around 2.64 currency god touch per map or per set. And in this set, I did find 2 currency God Touch. So for the Sextants, we have Winged Abyss, Winged Reliquary, Winged Ambush, and Winged Divination. So we are going full Winged Scarabs, and that's just because we can, and I did want to try it out with the most expensive Scarabs possible. So Sextants, we go for 3 additional Strongbox. In Rage Strongbox, the Limb rewards fill faster and 2 additional Abyss. Now, if you saw my last video that I did the Deli Mirror with, we didn't really make a profit. In fact, we actually lost money because we didn't have the Skittering Deli Orbs. I do think the Skittering Deli Orbs are extremely, extremely important if you want to be breaking even while doing a strategy like this. And on the map device, we want to put on Abyss and Master Mission. You can either do Bestiary or you can do Alva, whatever adds more mobs for the Skittering Deli Orbs to get more rewards. Now, total maps we did was 24, and the total input cost was 51.77 divines worth of investment for 24 maps. And that is pretty insanely high investment because that puts it at around, 2.15 divines per map, and that is pretty crazy. So we'll see here. Do you actually think we can profit doing the strategy? Now, for people wondering what exactly are we running for the Atlas, and this is a question I get a lot. We are using Wandering Path. Now, the reason we want to use Wandering Path is because the Abyss nodes are extremely OP. The ones that are the travel nodes, so you can see here is 30% increased pack size. So that's 30% pack size, and then these ones are more monsters, so 30% more monsters. And then right here, we have some chances to contain Abyss and more chances to contain an Abyss. And then for Legion, we're pretty much making it so the Legion encounters last longer, more chances for Legion. And then this right here is like a bootleg emblematic, and then more chances for Legion and duplication of the splinters. And here's some more duplication ones. So overall, and then Bestiary, you can take these if you're actually doing Beasts. And then you have to take all these nodes over the top to get increased effect of non-modifiers. But this does make the maps extremely, extremely difficult. And then you want to make sure you take these Quant nodes and then these Diviner Strongbox nodes and Arcanist Strongbox node. And make sure to take these so that you have a 12% chance of opening Strongbox again. And if you're doing Ambush, you should take these nodes on the bottom. That gives you the Strongbox to have an additional pack of monsters, which should technically increase the Deli rewards and spawn more altars. So you can see here we are... you shouldn't take these. I don't even actually know... Oh my goodness, I actually have these nodes from my Deli Orb Dunes test I was doing. Well, you should check out the tree before you do the strategy because sometimes, like me, you might mess it up. But basically, pretty expensive investment. Now, one thing I want to note is that you can adjust the Scarabs around. And the nice part about doing a spreadsheet like this is you can pretty much play with the numbers really easily. Like you can technically buy Gilded Abyss for 10C, right? Or you can buy Gilded Reliquary. So in the end, if you use cheaper mats and you do a set and test it out and then compare it to the other result, you might find out that using cheaper Scarabs is the best way to do it. Now, I just use the most expensive Scarabs just because I like to find loot regardless of the profit margin. But I truly believe that Gilded Scarabs are definitely the way to go. If you even look at some of these Sextants, like 2 additional Abyss, you're paying 35 Chaos roughly for 1 Abyss on a map. And that's pretty crazy, but you can pretty much just do another map and maybe be able to find more Abysses in the long run, right? So it's all about cost efficiency. So what you see here is pretty much the data I have presented for what I decided to do. Now, the results were kind of surprising when Snoobe posted his video and he said he got around 1 patient per map. I wasn't really expecting to get this many patients, but I guess it just adds up a lot. I guess Winged Ambush is something that really scales exponentially. You get a lot of quant on the map. You get a quant from your altars, you get quant from your gear, and I guess it all adds up, and you have to enrage Strongbox, and I am using Winged Ambush Scarab, so you get, I think, 14 or 15 Strongboxes on the map. So we did find 8 total God Touch. Now, this is around 1 God Touch every 3 maps. Now, it is important to note, in my findings, is usually around 2.5 maps per God Touch, and I think this rate was worse because we didn't use Legion, and Legion does spawn a good amount of rares, and you do find a lot of God Touch from them. And last time I did Dunes map, or I have been doing a Dunes maps right now, and Dunes maps, you actually get a lot more God Touch on average. I think it's around 1.5 to 2 maps per God Touch, and that's purely because Legion actually does spawn a lot of God Touch. We never got any God Touch from ambush boxes. Now, the total value of everything, and I do use a pretty strict excellence and loot filter, so most of the stuff here you will see is stuff that I would actually be selling. and we made around 86 divines. Now, did we really get that lucky? We got 2 currency God Touch, and this was 22 divines. One of the God Touch was not a currency God Touch, was not an Abyss mob, so it had pretty low inherent quant or something like that, and it only dropped like 5 divines, which is actually really, really bad. So theoretically, it could be a lot more. And I haven't actually updated the excellence in a while, so you can see here the patient card is just wrong in price. It shouldn't be 50 chaos. And we did find 70 of them. We did find 27 exalted orbs. A lot of this just came from the God Touch. And then you'll see everything else is pretty much just a Sextant. We did find 2 Dragon's Heart cards. And everything else is just a Scarabs and 1 Screaming Invitation. And then we did find 1 Innocence God Touch. So if we look at Winged Sextants, we got 4 divines from, or maybe we found 2. Yeah, I think we actually found 2 Scarab God Touch, which is actually relatively lucky. And then in terms of our total value of Scarabs, is around 30 divines roughly. The divination cards from patients that we were getting is around 17.82, and then you have 22 divines from the actual raw currency drop. So it's not like that much stuff to sell. Now, something to know is that 29 divines from Scarabs, and this is something you could technically bulk sell for a lot more, because as one knows, Excellence actually uses PoE Ninja price. So if you wanted to sell off these Scarabs, you can see Polished Divination are 4 chaos each, Gilded Divinations are 11.35. And if you ever want to see how much you can actually sell your Scarabs for, so let's go see Gilded Divination. Well, I actually don't have any here. We have some here. But this is another dump tab that I have, Gilded Divination. So you can see here, you can go to stock, you can put a stock, so you have like 20 of them, let's say, and you can adjust the stock here, and then you see for chaos, as you can see, these actually go for like 18 to 20 chaos if you really wanted to sell it in bulk. So this thing is only at 11.35 chaos on excellence. So if you do want to sell it in bulk, and the funny thing is, you can sell all the Scarabs that are a lot of your total value. So you'll see immediately that Divination, Expedition, Ambush, and Reliquary are the main ones that are actually worth a lot. So those are the ones that you should probably focus on bulk selling manually rather than selling the whole tab. So in reality, the profit could be a lot higher if you use the bulk selling prices. So if we actually look at it, we got 29 divines from Scarabs roughly. And then we have a total profit of around 9 divines or so from using the Skittering Orbs. Because if you actually look at the price, it's 180 times 24 is roughly around 20 divines cost of how much the Delia Orbs cost. So using these Skittering Delia Orbs does allow us to actually sustain our money and actually make money from something that would normally be a lot harder to generate consistent income from. Because pretty much you can see from this list that there's not that much loot that really drops from the game outside of strong boxes and actually reward templates and currency God Touch and God Touch. The loot is terrible in the game for juicing in terms of what you actually get out of it. You might get some T1 unique. Asenath's Mark was actually my best unique, which is actually pretty sad to see. No Aegis Aurora. Oh, we found an Intuitive Leap, Light of Lunars, Asenath's Gentle Touch. So nothing really too great in terms of what we got. Now, this is probably the portion that people really want to see, and it is how much profit can you actually make doing this. So our total revenue is 86 divines. Total profit is 34.2 once you account for the cost of the maps, which is around 51 divines. So what does that mean? 34.2 divided by 24 map total, 1.426 divines per hour. Now that's not too bad because we can run 6-7 maps per hour, and that's an average of what, like 8 to 10 minutes per map. And that is around 7 times 1.426, which is around 10 divines per hour. And you could definitely bump it up. You could level up gems in your offhand. You could put on incubators that you have. And it does add up to be a lot in the long run. But I literally like to present the facts as just notwithstanding what you get from gem leveling. Now, you do have to keep in mind the results are done with 100% quant on my gear and 600% rarity. But this method can still be pretty profitable due to Skittering Orbs and Patient being a lower tier card. Patient being a lower tier card means that quant affects it a lot more. It's a lot harder for quant to affect higher tier cards. Or so I was told. Let me know down in the comments below if this is actually a true statement. Now, you do get a God Touch roughly 1 in every 3 maps. But this is something to keep in mind is that sometimes in a map you can get 2. Like if you remember in the video at the start of this video, or my highlight, I actually found 2 God Touched in one map. So that means that could be 6 maps that you don't see one, and you'll still average out to 3, 1 per 3 maps. So that's something to keep in mind. If you ever go like 10 maps without a God Touch, maybe you'll find like 2 in the next one, and they'll all even out in the end. And as I say, it's a huge variance of currency, God Touch, and altars. And what I mean by that is that even if you get the God Touch, it's not guaranteed to be currency. It's a 1/3 chance to be currency. And even then, sometimes you get 25 divines, sometimes you get 20 divines, sometimes you get 15 divines. And a lot of that just comes down to what you get for the altars, if you get currency duplication or if you get quant and rarity. And it really depends on a lot of different factors. So just to note, there's a lot of variance in this, but it is profitable in the long run for sure. Now, the price for mats have gone sky high. As you can see here, these are the cost of winged scarabs, and it does seem like it has come back a little bit. So you can see here, winged divination was super high, and now it's all the way down again, and winged abysses went high, and it's down again, and so is winged ambush. So theoretically, this method could be a little bit better now that stuff is going down a little bit, but it was really bad at one point right when I was making this video. Now, there is a lack of variety for endgame farming, since everyone is pretty much focusing on Legion, Abyss, and Ambush. Legion and Abyss gives the most God Touched, and that's pretty much the most profitable thing nowadays is hunting God Touch. The Ambush gives you the chance for getting the Divination cards. So all of those 3 mechanics are extremely expensive. If you actually look at the input costs, you will see that the Sextants for Strongbox are crazy high. Even the Deli reward is pretty high because people like to do that for the Skittering Orbs or Diviners, Delirium Orb. And the 2 additional Abyss Sextant is crazy high at 2.5 divines. So the problem with this is that magic finding right now is kind of too good, and it leads to gear being homogenized. And what I mean by that is if you actually look at people's gear right now, let's see, Ventors. I'm pretty sure Ventors is being used by a lot of people, right? Ventors is a 7% item at the moment, and that's actually pretty crazy. So there's that many people magic finding. And let's see, item rarity gem link is used in 8% of all builds already. Now, this is probably going to be higher depending on how many people are actually still playing and that adopted to the magic find meta. So in the end, a lot of your gear will feel very similar. You'll put item rarity on your gear. You'll probably wear a gold worm, and you'll wear 2 Ventors. And your amulet, and every single piece of gear, you'll be aiming for rarity. You'll be using a gold flask. So that's why I say that magic finding does make gearing kind of boring. And the one thing I really want to test out, and we will do in the future, is how will this strat perform on Defiled Cathedral. I do think 24 maps sample size is too low in order to guarantee an apothecary by any means. But it will be nice to see how many 7 years bad luck and enlightened cards you'll be able to pull out with this strategy. But thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know down in the comments below if you want to see the Defiled Cathedral strat. And if you have, and your experiences, if you've actually done Colonnade or Promenade farming with Strong Boxes for patient cards. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more Mirrors, Exalted Orbs, and Mage Bless than me. And see you next time. Bye.